Alrighty, so I'm gonna be showing Uzel, my cannon, which may or may not be illegal. So I'm making sure that I either get confirmation from you that it's legal, and this is pretty important, and it's actually probably a flaw in the server system, but it's nothing major. It's been a flaw in about every server that we've played so far. We've been able to use this type of cannon a lot, and so the concept is pretty old. It's not crazy old, but it's similar to cobweb busting. Basically, you're having a propulsion, and then you're having a nuker, which is the purest form of game ticks. So each one is exploding in the air based off of these sets of pistons. So the reason why this may be illegal, or potentially, is because of its exposure. So basically, the exposure is how far away the power is from the nuker. So it's about an 8 exposure right now, and what this allows is that the block, or the TNT explosions, each game tick it goes, or each like very 10th of a game tick, it's being lined up to half of a block, which means that it's going to have sets of TNT that's going to explode in between this block and in between this block right here. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to tunnel through obsidian walls, only obsidian, because it's using how the obby breaker plugin works. So basically how the obby breaker plugin works is when a TNT is recognized in a dry spot, right, and a certain radius, it's going to damage this obby. Well, the problem is that a lot of the people use the same cannoning plugins, and so one of them has a flaw where for the obsidian count, it's actually counting it even if it's technically in the water still. So that means is that you can use this exposure, have TNT basically just streamline straight through this, and because it's in half a block, it's fine because it registers it as being damaged. So as long as you have enough TNT in each shot, in each propulsion, I guess, then it'll work. So on here we'll only have 4, and on Cosmic 4 doesn't seem to work as well as it did on Psycho. So I'm going to demonstrate the cannon just really quickly. So the cannon may take a couple shots, or it might get it in the first shot. It's all based on TPS and how much TNT gets off and wants to considerably damage this obsidian. So there's nothing wrong with how these are watered. These are all watered perfectly, and there's no sand in this cannon. There's no cannon behind it. This is all using half block exposure, basically half block explosions. So first shot, not too good. So might take 1 or 2 shots maybe to get. I know the first shot of earlier, it just nuked through all this right away, but there we go. So now it's through the first one. So yeah, it's really on it's at this point all on RNG if it's gonna get through the other walls or not. So and currently, I mean, this TNT is enough for Cosmic's obby breaker plugin. So once you've added more, this thing could tunnel through all of these walls instantly. So now it's that one. And then I'll show the other method of using this type of flaw in the obby breaker plugin. So this doesn't go through the last set, I'll just kind of wait. So sometimes it goes through it, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, so it would usually go through this instantly. You just have to have more of this TNT, because for some odd reason, Cosmic's obby breaker plugin doesn't seem to recognize these half blocks as badly as Psycho does, but it's still an easy kind of thing to do. You just have more TNT here, and just hope that your RNG and however the server is reading it based off of its TPS, is it counting it in between the block or not. So the next thing I wanted to show that you can do this with is with a Rev cannon. Very easy with one, actually. If you just take a simple Rev hybrid, have your hammer come in on this side of a block, so be against this trap door as well as your sand. when it gets powered off, it's going to hit the top of here, and then it's going to hit this trap door, or not trap door, it's going to hit this stair, and this makes it directly in between a block. So that's how you can get it, because then what happens is then you shoot it off, right? You have your little backstack here, and since this would be water, and this is in between a block right here, it would go upwards like a rev nuke, and the obsidian would get destroyed, just like that. So that's really how the concept works, and it's not old, but it's definitely, like, the way to do it isn't old, but the kind of method of going through the walls like this is fairly recent. Me and my buddies use this on Psycho a lot, before staff decided to not make it allowed. We're the only people that really had one of these cannons at that time, and so they eventually, I think they made it legal, but with Cosmic and Psycho being very different servers based off of their factions playability and, you know, their cannoning and defenses, it could be different for the server, because people on Psycho are all using straights, and so if you get them to patch with Obsidian, oh, there we go. So if you get them to patch with Obsidian, then you're you could just nuke through all of that. I mean, like, we used this on F-Top 1, went through with like a simple 255 through like 30 walls, and this thing makes only like a 4 tall hole like that. So what happened is we just tunneled through it. They checked their sand, the first sand at the bottom of their base, to see if somebody stacked, and they couldn't tell that we were raiding them because we basically just tunneled through all that. So you can use this for a checkbox by basically having like 1 TNT explode in here, and because of how obby is, it would just make 1 by 1 hole. You can just shoot through, and then what you do to get to the other side is probably have to put a 1 by 1 hole just kind of secretly over a course of like a day or two by basically shooting this direction with the stair guider, having it explode here just so that you're not causing off the redstone by exploding the TNT in here. So that's just a risky way, but so then you can just use a normal cannon, shoot through 1 by 1, and you bypass the check wall without anybody knowing, only because you're basically not having to sand stack, you're not having to go through anything else. So that's how that works. So yeah, hopefully you can come with the decision on this, and if you want to go, this is actually on Cosmic Cannon Realm. So but yeah, I mean, like, I think there could be an easy way to fix this, and with the developers or whatever, could be changing how TNT affects the obsidian, just make it so that it has to be in a dry spot completely, but then you might also run into issues where, since the obsidian is watered and it's exploding in a dry spot, that it's going to damage it. So there's just a lot of risks you might have to take with changing the plugin, because like this works on Decimate, this works on Psycho, this works on Cosmic now. You can do this on Vanity, I think. I don't think anybody has yet, but so yeah, I was just gonna help you guys on this one before it would become more public. We've had this on Psycho for about a year now, and currently the faction I used to play for was the only faction that used this type of cannoning. So I don't know if anybody's used this on Cosmic yet, but I just like to give some more knowledge on it before we would start using it.